Strengths: established the presidency's authority, avoided foreign conflicts, set the two-term precedent, unifying leader after the revolution. Weaknesses: owned slaves, failing to address slavery, lacked strong economic policies, relied too much on advisors, didn't address political party divisions. Strengths: led the nation through the Civil War, abolished slavery with the Emancipation Proclamation, brilliant communicator and unifier, strengthened the federal government. Weaknesses: suspended habeas corpus, violating civil liberties, faced strong opposition within his cabinet, struggled with post-war reconstruction plans. Some military decisions were controversial. Strengths: led the United States out of the Great Depression with the New Deal. Strong wartime leadership during World War II, established Social Security, expanded the government's role in the economy. Weaknesses: Japanese internment camps violated human rights, tried to pack the Supreme Court. Some New Deal programs increased government debt. Critics argue he centralized too much power. Strengths: charismatic and visionary leader, inspired the space race with the moon landing goal, managed the Cuban Missile Crisis effectively, advocated for civil rights. Weaknesses: Bay of Pigs invasion failure, slow progress on civil rights, personal scandals, overly aggressive Cold War policies. Barack Obama, serving from 2009 to 2017, was the first African-American president, symbolizing significant progress. He passed the Affordable Care Act, commonly known as Obamacare, and restored global diplomacy post-Bush era. His strong leadership was pivotal during the economic recovery. However, he faced challenges in uniting a deeply divided America, and had limited success in addressing racial tensions. Additionally, he struggled with foreign policy in Syria and Libya, and the Affordable Care Act had rollout problems. Donald Trump, in office from 2017 to 2021, saw economic growth before the COVID-19 pandemic. He negotiated Middle East peace deals, known as the Abraham Accords, and implemented strong border security policies. Trump also appointed 3 Supreme Court justices. On the flip side, his leadership style was often divisive, and he mishandled the COVID-19 response. His foreign relations were controversial, particularly with NATO and the WHO, and his response to the January 6 Capitol riot drew significant criticism. Joe Biden, serving from 2021 to the present, has focused on infrastructure investments and repairing international alliances. He led a strong COVID-19 vaccination rollout and initiated student loan relief efforts. However, his administration faced the Afghanistan withdrawal crisis, high inflation, and ongoing economic struggles. The border crisis remains unresolved, and his age and communication have been points of concern. Let's dive into a comparison of the strengths and weaknesses of various U.S. presidents. Section comparison of their strengths and weaknesses. Duration: 120 seconds. Scene 1. Leadership style. Lincoln, Roosevelt, and Obama excelled in uniting people in crises. On the other hand, Trump, Nixon, and Andrew Johnson struggled due to their more divisive leadership styles. Scene 2. Economic impact. When it comes to economic impact, FDR with his New Deal, Reagan with his tax cuts, and Clinton with his balanced budget all helped to spur economic growth. Conversely, Hoover faced the Great Depression, and Biden has been grappling with inflation struggles. Scene 3. Foreign policy and foreign policy. Washington's neutrality, Eisenhower's Cold War strategy, and Obama's diplomacy were successful. However, Bush with the Iraq War, Biden with the Afghanistan withdrawal, and Carter with the Iran hostage crisis experienced notable failures. Scene 4. Impact on African nations. Focusing on Africa, Kennedy, Obama, and Clinton emphasized diplomacy and trade. Reagan's policies, however, fueled Cold War conflicts in Africa, and Trump largely ignored the continent. Many early presidents allowed slavery to persist, while modern leaders struggled with racial tensions. U.S. Cold War policies often destabilized African nations instead of helping them. IMF and World Bank policies, often backed by U.S. presidents, hurt African economies. Most presidents did not create long-term partnerships to help Africa grow independently. Presidents could have worked harder to bridge racial, economic, and political divides. more fair trade and debt relief for African nations. The U.S. often intervened in ways that caused instability rather than peace. Instead of aid dependency, investment in African economies should have been prioritized. Leaders must prioritize the well-being of citizens over personal or party gains. Nations, including African countries, thrive when there are opportunities for growth. Leaders should build bridges, not deepen political, racial, or economic divides. Instead of exploiting weaker nations, superpowers should foster real partnerships. Many presidents made short-term decisions that caused long-term problems. Leadership is not just about power, it's about responsibility. Many U.S. presidents failed in managing power wisely, leading to divisions, wars, economic struggles, and global instability. A true leader must work to unite their people, respect global partnerships, and create a legacy of justice, peace, and prosperity.